What is good, Raider Nation? Thank you guys for joining me. Hit that thumbs up button if you guys are just watching this. It's a super busy day. I know a lot of people have a ton to do today, so I don't expect a whole lot of people here with me today. And I don't even know how long I'm gonna go do this for. I might just like 30 minutes to an hour sometime in there. My camera might die in between all that, man. I've been having some issues with that, so I appreciate there's about 10 of you guys ish here. So I appreciate the ones that are already here. I appreciate the comments. I do hope everybody can hear me. I want to jump into this, man, because there's a ton to talk about today. At the same time, I also want to take you guys' questions, any concerns, any sort of remarks you guys might have. Let me know, man. Leave those comments, leave those questions, and I'm gonna definitely get into all of those. At the same time, I will be bringing guests on, right? I didn't go live this past Sunday. I don't think I went live the Sunday before either. I might just keep this live during the weekdays. That way, it's kind of easier for people to kind of log in. I know a lot of people are busy on Sunday, so um, again, I appreciate every single one of you guys that are already here. Hit that thumbs up button if you guys can. I really appreciate it. I want to start this video off right, and I want to jump right into this and just discuss Gus Bradley and kind of his opinions of the slot position. It's such an important position. In my opinion, it might be the most important position on defense. Um, Gus Bradley was asked kind of to give us some input on that position. Who's playing nickel in practice? Who's going to basically be lined up? Who's going to start? And what's the slot position looking like? Gus Bradley was open, man. Gus Bradley said basically right now we have Nevin Lawson, Nate Hobbs, and Amik Robertson. All three of those guys are the primary guys getting the slot snaps, which is different than what we were kind of thinking coming into the OTAs and minicamp. A lot of people were saying at first there was like Casey Hayward's going to somehow switch to slot, and I did not agree with that at all. I did not ever think Casey Hayward would be the slot guy, but a lot of people did think that Casey Hayward could potentially be the slot guy. And then more so than that, people were saying maybe Damon Arnett has to switch his position, and maybe Damon Arnett plays slot, even though Damon Arnett played outside corner pretty much all of last season. But then Gus Bradley was asked today, like, clarify. And he said, and I quote him, he said, we have Nevin Lawson, who's playing the slot, Nate Hobbs, who looks great. And he gave a lot of praise to Nate Hobbs. And I was actually kind of surprised because Nate Hobbs is still a young player. He's going to be a rookie coming in from a small college, right? He didn't go to Alabama. He didn't play at LSU. He was at Illinois. So he's going to have a huge learning curve, but it does look like he's going to bring a ton for the Raiders. Now, let's just take a step back, right? What kind of impact will Nate Hobbs actually have, right? I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what kind of impact you guys think Nate Hobbs would actually have. Do you guys think he can actually start? Appreciate all the comments. 559, shout out to you, Raider Nation for life. Totally agree. Ivan said, what's good, Sanjit? Let's go Raiders. Appreciate that. Record prediction for the Raiders. I say we're going to win anywhere from 10 to 12 games. And I think we're going to be right there in the playoff mix. If we get, a couple lucky games here or there, we can win 13 games, right? There's 17 games this season. And I think we're a better team than we were last year, right? Tell me if you guys disagree with that. Do you guys think the Raiders are a worse team than last season? I don't think so. I think we're a much better team. Jose Ramiro, what up, Sanji? Are you going to the Raiders for 49ers game? I don't think I am. My brother, me, and my cousin were talking about it recently. Tickets have like quadrupled, which is crazy. And we should have bought in the tickets days back. We were thinking about going to the Niners game, Niners and Raiders game here in Santa Clara. I don't think we're going to go, but if I do go, I will keep you guys updated on that. Jesse Rhoda, shout out to you, my man. I really, really appreciate it. Todd, shout out to you. Juan, shout out to you. We're going to get into this question, Craig, in just a second. I want to kind of stick with the slot position specifically. What do you guys think, man? Do you guys think one of these three guys, Nevin Lawson, Nate Hobbs, or Amik Robertson, could potentially be that slot guy? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know if these guys I don't know if these guys have what it takes, man. I don't disagree with Nevin Lawson specifically. I like Lawson a lot, man. I think Nevin Lawson is one of those guys that has been underrated for a long time. Um, but at the same time, I don't know why he gets a ton of hate, right? He played for us a lot last year, right? And I know our secondary sucked, right? So I'm not arguing that, but he was still a good player in my opinion. Um, Jose said you bought two for $330 2 months ago. That's crazy because even then, that's not bad, right? Like $330 for two tickets. I'm gonna assume they're definitely like first level seats or front row type of seats. Um, Prod said Netway gonna play slot. I don't think Damon Arnett plays the slot, man. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think Damon Arnett is the Raiders slot corner? Um, if you guys don't know, Gus Bradley was asked about it today, and he said that right now in minicamp, we have these three guys playing the slot. We got Nevin Lawson, Nate Hobbs, and Amik Robertson. Those are the guys, and he talked very highly of Nate Hobbs. And one thing you guys got to keep in mind is Nate Hobbs is Gus Bradley's guy, right? Gus Bradley came into the offseason with the Raiders, and he said, hey, I want this guy here, I want this guy there. And Mike said, perfect. Give me some guys, give me some names, and we'll get those guys. And I guarantee you guys, Nate Hobbs was one of the guys that Gus Bradley wanted. I guarantee you, Gus Bradley said, Nate Hobbs, man, he's right there. You guys get him. What was he? I think a 5th-round pick, if my memory is correct. But at the same time, I think Amik Robertson still has the most potential, man. Nevin Lawson is what he is. Maybe he plays 1 year in that slot position, but over time, it has to be Nate Hobbs, right? Like Nate Hobbs is the guy, in my opinion, that was drafted by Gus Bradley specifically, right? But at the same time, I think Amik Robertson has the most potential. So it'll be interesting to see. And I wonder if any of these three guys get cut. Because if you guys think about it, there's 3 guys here. Then there's 3 other guys that we know for sure will be on the roster in Damon Arnett, Trayvon Mullen, and Casey Hayward. So you take these 3 guys and those 3 guys. That's already 6 corners. What about Isaiah Johnson and Keyshawn Nixon? Like, what the hell are the Raiders going to do, man? That's 8 corners right there. You got Rasul Douglas and Bleedy Ray Wilson. That's 10 corners. And I'm sure I'm missing someone, man. What do we do, man? What did the Raiders do? It'll be very interesting. But Prod, you think Netway is going to play slot? I kind of disagree with that, but hey, you never know, right? Maybe Gus Bradley's kind of keeping it hidden. Jason Haas said Gruden said Divine Deablo is hurt. Thoughts? So I don't think John Gruden said specifically that the Divine Deablo is hurt. I think his words were something to the tune of he's out. But I do agree with you. I think he is hurt. Unless Striker Irk said he didn't say hurt, which is true. Gruden did say he was out, which is exactly what Gruden said. Gruden said that that he was out. Now, here's the thing, right? If you guys remember, Divine Deablo was there at the very first day of OTAs, and I believe something happened. Maybe he did get hurt, because if it was a contract issue, he would not have been there, like, at all. If there was a contract issue, Deablo would have never gotten out there, which is interesting, man. Very, very interesting. So I don't think it's a contract issue. I think he might have gotten hurt. And correct me if I'm wrong. Was he not there? I feel like I looked into it and I saw that he was there at the first practice ever. It'll be interesting to see what happens. If he is hurt, if he is out, I think the Raiders should come out and just say it. I think there was a comment I read earlier that Divine Deablo is going to be the next Tanner Muse. He'll be out for the whole entire year. And I don't necessarily agree with that, right? I think there's a lot from here until that could potentially happen. And yeah, man, Prod also said, hopefully it's not a Bowden type situation. I don't think it is. I think Lynn Bowden is different, right? We've watched Divine Deablo. We know he can play. So I don't think it's that specifically. Anyone else excited to see how Tanner Muse converts to linebacker next Urlacher? Aaron Christopher, man, if Tanner Muse is the next Brian Urlacher, I would be super pumped, because right now Tanner Muse does not, or at least based off of reports from last year when the pads actually came on. He did not look like Brian Urlacher. He looked the complete opposite of Brian Urlacher. So, Jason Hall, thank you for the super chat. I didn't say that, so thank you. Ben Bad left a $5 super chat as well. Shout out to you, Ben. You're a member and you left a super chat. Huge shout out to you, man. I'm all in on the defense. We are going to surprise, bro. I could not disagree with you. You know what's crazy is last year we had John, and I said this earlier. We had Jonathan Hankins playing third down as a pass rusher. We had Mo Hurst playing first downs as a run stopper. And that's not their game. And that only happened because we didn't have guys that could play. We didn't have the depth. We have that now. We have guys that actually can play. We have guys that actually swap in and out. Gus Bradley said it. He said we have a second line that we can potentially rotate in and out. We can have guys who are having great games and keep them in, and guys who are having bad games and keep them out. That's what we need, man. That's how you have success. You don't have success by saying Hankins go play, 80 snaps a game, right? Or 50 snaps, how many ever snaps he would have to play. That again, you have to have competition, you have to have depth. And I agree, man. I think our defense could be a top 15 to top 16 defense. It'll be very interesting to kind of see what will happen there. Edgar said, I can see Douglas getting cut. I can too, man. You have the 3 slot guys that Gus mentioned today. You have Douglas, you have Bleedy Ray Wilson, Mullen, Arnett, and Casey Hayward. That's like 10 corners. Johnson and Nixon as well. I don't know if I said them. That's 10 corners, man. That's way too many corners. How many corners did we have last year? I believe we had 5 or 6 on the active roster. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. Noah said Gillespie's going to be a beast. I totally agree, man. If there's one guy I think has the most potential among guys that are not kind of, having the hype, Jonathan Abram, Trayvon Merrick, those guys are hyped. But the guy that's not hyped is Tyree Gillespie. I wouldn't be surprised, man, if Gillespie ends up having a great year this year. Don't be surprised if he ends up being like our second or third best safety. Like, I would not be surprised. I remember watching Tyree Gillespie smack people when it was the Missouri and Alabama game. Like, Devontae Smith came across the middle, boom, he'd smack him. I don't know the Alabama tight end name, but he'll be a first-round pick next year. Smacked him too, right? And I think Najee Harris tried running to the outside, and it was Gillespie versus Najee Harris, one-on-one in space. Gillespie made the tackle, man. Guy can tackle, so that's gonna be big for the Raiders. Julius Smith was good, Sanjit. Thank you for being a member, man. I really, really appreciate that. Todd Clemens said we have depth and competition on defense. I'm all in too. 100%, man. 100% fact. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait for camp to start. You guys know we're playing the Rams this year. I think we played them the first preseason game, but also in camp we'll be scrimmaging the Rams, which I think we technically do every year, right? 2 years ago, I think we scrimmaged the Rams, and I think that was the scrimmage that Gabe Jackson got hurt. But either way, I'm pumped up for it, man. I'm very pumped up for it. Hopefully, Jonathan Abrams smacks some people in camp, man. I'm excited to kind of see how the slot position, kind of comes around. Gus Bradley obviously said that he wants to rotate guys in and out. Kind of talked about that as well. So the Rams is the second game. Okay. So that'll be interesting to see, right? The Rams are the second preseason game, but we do scrimmage them. So that'll be interesting to see. Aaron Christopher said, converting safety to linebacker, I would expect a season off to put on the weight alone, bro. Don't sleep on a linebacker that understands coverage on the back end. And I'm assuming you're talking about Divine Deablo or Tanner Muse. I think you made the comment of Tanner Muse being the next Brian Urlacher. And I agree with you. I think Tanner Muse has a ton going for him, man. He was a good safety in college, right? I think people kind of forget that Tanner Muse was a good safety in college. He was a national championship winner, right? He was probably the 4th best player on that defense after Isaiah Simmons and a couple of those other corners and linebackers. Tanner Muse, I think, could be a good football player, man. I really do. But I would say this. the reports from last year were really bad. And obviously, I do understand that it was his first year. He had to convert from safety to linebacker, which is a big deal. But at the same time, I want to see it, right? I don't want to get my hopes up with him. Um, I want to see it, but he does look quick, man. I've been watching those OTA videos. He's looked good, man. He's looked really, really good. Raider Rabbit said, "I'm gonna go to the Rams game in preseason. Gonna be lit. I hope you enjoy that, man. That's definitely the game to go to, for sure." Um, yeah, man, that's gonna be a game to go to. I really wish I could go to a game this year. Obviously, I'm up here in Northern California. I could go to the San Francisco 49ers and Raiders preseason game, but I'll be honest with you guys. At this point, I should have planned it earlier. At this point, it's super expensive for tickets. And I don't want to sit all the way in the back, right? Like if I go to a game, I want to sit in the front or at least like within the first 10 seats. Now, last I looked, those are like $300 tickets. So I know a lot of Raider fans are going to be there. I'm going to say like 85% Raider fans at that game specifically. Daniel Kim said, "Where do you think Gillespie is going to play?" So we actually already had that information. Both, I can't remember who said it. I think it was John Gruden said it a couple of weeks back. And Gus Bradley actually touched on it today. Gus Bradley was asked his thoughts and opinions on the slot corner position as well as the safeties. And he said that basically at free safety, we're going to have Trayvon Merrick and Tyree Gillespie as the two guys at the free safety position. And then I believe it was John Gruden a couple weeks back said that he expects Gillespie to be that mid safety, right, playing that post safety position. And I think he also confirmed a couple weeks back that Carl Joseph and Jonathan Abram will be the strong safety. So those two guys are the strong safeties. Merrigan and Gillespie will be the free safeties. And I think those are the four safeties that are going to be on the roster. I don't know if Davian Levitt makes the roster. I don't even know what other safeties we have on this roster, to be honest, because there's four guys that I've been super pumped up about. And I think those are the four guys, man. Raiders defense is going to the moon with Sheba. Steve, shout out to you, man. I'm invested in Shiba. So if you guys are not invested in it, look into it, man. It'd be awesome if it goes to the moon, man. That'd be cool. Shout out to you for the super chat. I really, really appreciate that, man. LA Des, Nate Hobbs in the slot. I like the dude. Looks like a great tackler. And that's the thing, right? Is Nate Hobbs, he's aggressive and he's physical. And I feel like from the slot position, the Raiders want physicality more so than coverage. Especially with Gus Bradley. I think Gus Bradley wants the Raiders slot and strong safety to be physical guys, right? Gus Bradley in the past had Derwin James, he had Cam Chancellor, and I think that's what he wants. And I'm fine with that, right? If Nate Hobbs ends up being that type of guy, I'm perfectly fine with that. Even if he struggles a little bit in coverage, I'm okay with that. If you can consistently shut the run down, it makes teams one-dimensional. At the same time, for the Raiders, they're going to practice and figure out exactly, if we're playing cover 3 95% of the time, they're going to figure out where the issues are. Where could we potentially get exposed? Where could teams potentially hurt us? And they're going to practice that, and they're going to know. So Trayvon Merrick's going to know that, hey, the seams might get open, so I might have to jump that. They're going to know. They're going to be well coached, right? So definitely don't sleep on that. Ben Bad tickets will be high for a while. They need to recoup for last year's no fans. You can't build a new stadium and not sell tickets right away. And that is true, man. That is a fact. So that is why I don't plan to go to any games this year, especially at Allegiant Stadium. The tickets are way too expensive, man. I would love to go, right? But the thing is being from Northern California, if I'm going to go to a game in Vegas, I would obviously have to, I wouldn't go by myself, obviously, right? So I'd plan it with my cousins, my friends, and we'd kind of, a bunch of us would go out there. But it would be something we'd plan in advance. And again, I'd want, front 15 seats, right? So and I don't even know how much those tickets are going for, right? I'm going to say in the thousands. But next year, I do think tickets will kind of come back down. So it'll be interesting. We'll kind of see what happens. Todd Clements said, Gus Bradley mentioned Max Crosby leaned up. Does he mean he lost weight or gained muscle? So it's a little bit of both, right? Basically, he's gained weight, but it's more of he's gained muscle, right? So more so than just like he got bulkier, he put on a ton of weight. Uh, the weight he did put on was muscle, so it's lead muscle, which is great, right? That's what you want. If you want your guys to get stronger, if you want your guys to put on weight, lean muscle is the way to go, especially for Gus Bradley's scheme and system. He wants speed off the edge. Yannick Ngakoue is speed, right? And that's what he needs in Max Crosby. And that takes me to another point. Did you guys hear Yannick Ngakoue say him and Max Crosby will be the league's best pass rushing duo? That's crazy, man. He said something to the tune that I'm putting the league on notice that we're going to be the best pass rushing duo. I love that, man. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear Yannick Ngakoue tell the world that we're going to be the league's best pass rushers. We're going to be the greatest guys out there. We're going to dominate. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear him say we're not going to be that good or whatever, this or that. I want to hear him say we're going to be great, man. I love that, man. I love the fact that Yannick Ngakoue is saying we're going to be the league's best pass rush duo. It gets me pumped up. It makes me want to go tell the next guy that you better watch out for the Raiders defense, man. When Yannick Ngakoue says we're going to be the best, man. I say this all the time. If you want to be the best, you have to think like you're the best. You have to practice like you're the best. You have to tell yourself you are the best. That's the only way you'll ever be the best. That's why I'm so high on Jonathan Abram. Not only have I actually physically watched him play, and he looks good, but Jonathan Abram has said that he wants to be great, right? If you watch his interviews that he's done in the past, he said, I want to be the best football player ever in the history of the game. Those are the type of players that will get there. Those are the types of players that will end up being superstar. I appreciate the $5 super chat, Todd. I really, really do. It really does help this channel grow. In a time, especially over the last couple of weeks, where a lot of my videos have been being demonetized by YouTube, I really appreciate it, man. I really do. Patrick said, John Gruden said, we are going to play best 4 to 5 corners. Do you think we only keep that many? So if we're going to play 4 corners, we have to keep at least 5 to 6 on the roster. If John Gruden says 5 corners, we'd have to keep 6 or 7. I do think we'll have at least one guy on the practice squad, which will be interesting. Is that going to be Amik Robertson? Is that going to be Nate Hobbs? One of those guys will have to hit the practice squad. We don't have room for all these guys, including, we just got 3 vets alone, in Hayward, Bleedy, Ray Wilson, and who's the other corner that I'm thinking about? I can't think. Oh, Rasul Douglas. So 3 corners on the top of my head that we just brought in. Those 3 guys will probably be on the roster. Maybe one of those guys gets cut. We'll kind of see. But yeah, man. You know what's crazy is you have guys now like Max and Yannick Ngakoue who are talking back and forth like, yeah, we're going to be great. What about Cleveland Farrell, man? Where the hell's Cleveland Farrell in all of this? Right? So that'll be interesting to kind of see there what happens. Yeah, man. I'm pumped up to see what happens there. If you guys have also not heard, this is something that really didn't get a lot of attention. I don't know if you guys saw this. I kind of made a video about it. It didn't get a lot of clicks, so I'm going to assume that a lot of people didn't really see it. Derek Carr did an interview with Vinny of the Las Vegas Raiders Review Journal. And Vinny asked Derek specifically, like, why have you not extended your contract? Why have you not re-signed if you're only there for 2 years? Derek said that basically Gruden and Mayock have talked to his agent about a contract. He says something to the tune of he would prefer if he gets it done. If not, it's not something he's going to think about. What do you guys think about that, man? Do you guys think that if Derek Carr is the future for the Raiders, that the Raiders should re-sign him and extend him today? Because here's the thing, right? If it comes down to it, right? Will Derek Carr, if let's say he has 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and the Raiders make playoffs, will the Raiders have to pay Derek $42 million a year next year? As opposed to right now, maybe we can get him for $34 million, right? It'll be interesting, man. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that Derek Carr should sign now, or the Raiders should be in front of that and sign it now? I see a couple of you guys saying wait till next year. I am the base hit. He's the future. He's our Brady, our Drew Brees, our Big Ben. Um, I don't know what the Raiders should do in this situation, but if John Gruden's confident that Derek Carr is the guy, I would say to sign him right now, man. I think it would be wise to sign Derek now so that for the future we have him on a cheaper contract. Uh, but yeah, it was a question that Vinny asked Derek, and it didn't get a ton of second thought. So I just thought I wanted to kind of throw it out there. I think if the Raiders want Derek, they should 100% sign him. Now, I will say this, right? And this is just my personal opinion. I think the reason why Derek has yet to sign, the reason why John hasn't necessarily brought him in is maybe John wants Derek to prove himself this year, right? That, hey, you know what? Last year you had a great year. This year we're going to fix the defense. And I want to see you put that together, right? Your O-line might not be as good. Your weapons might not be as good, but I want to see you do it again this year, right? That's the only thing that I could possibly think of. Some of you guys are saying, High Five Freddy said, once he leaves, he will retire. You heard what DC said. If he plays for another team, he will quit football. He's loyal. Do you guys actually believe that? I don't believe it, man. I don't believe it. I do think this, though. I think DC is one of those guys where you can tell DC right now, man, you can be on the Raiders. You can be on the Buccaneers. I don't think DC would want to be loyal and would want to stay with the Raiders. DC, and I said this earlier, is a dying breed, man. Derek Carr is like Michael Jordan. He's like Kobe Bryant. He will stay on the team and build with the team. And I will say I respect DC for that. You can't say that about someone like LeBron James, right? LeBron James is a ring chaser. So that's different than what DC is, right? DC's loyal to the Raiders. He's loyal to the organization. So for me personally, I huge respect to DC for that. I'm going to get into some of these comments. Tito said that he has no leverage. And that's probably true as well, depending on how you look at the situation, right? If you guys say the Raiders could potentially move on from DC and the Raiders are fine with that, then yeah, DC would have no leverage, especially if he really does want to stay with the Raiders, right? He wouldn't have leverage in that situation. DJ D said, finally got to hear from Coach Gruden. What are your takeaways and what opened your eyes about what Bradley had to say? We kind of touched on that. I love the fact that he was very clear with the slot positions. He mentioned the three guys. I also like the fact that he loves the fact that we can rotate guys in and out. We have a lot of depth. Those are probably the two takeaways I had from that. Coach Gruden, the Deablo situation kind of caught my eye, right? I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on there. Either way, there's a lot of stuff that'll come out in the next couple of days, in my opinion. Patrick said, I believe you sign Derek now. You get him cheaper because the cap goes up next year. Yeah, man, the cap does go up next year. So if we were to sign him, it might make sense. Daniel said, Raid said something last night that I agree with. If you let Carr go or trade him, who is a realistic option that would compare with his leadership numbers and quarterback intuition? If there's one guy that makes sense, the only guy that would make sense, honestly, is Marcus Mariota. That would be the only guy that would potentially take over for DC, because at this point he's been in the system for a year. He kind of knows the cause. You're not going to go out and trade for some random guy out there that has not played with John. That wouldn't make sense, right? At the same time, I agree that Raid the Tape's 100% right. There's no one that at this point you're going to go ahead and just move on from Derek for. It doesn't make sense. There's no point of getting rid of Derek. If you're going to get rid of Derek, you would have already done it, right? You would have already said, all right, Derek, this is no longer your team. Marcus is your team. At the same time, I also understand you don't want to maybe throw Marcus in there. You might want him to learn and maybe naturally take over, right? Which is something that some people have said to me as well. But I agree. It doesn't make sense. There's not a lot of realistic options to get rid of DC. Anthony said DC's the GOAT. More production usually on contract year from I don't know if it's Bial or Bal, one or the other for sure. But yeah, man, I agree. I think you get the most production out of a player when the pressure's on. That's always a fact. every player that I know of that is on his final year of his deal always outperforms and goes out of his way. You saw that with Nicholas Morrow last year. Malik Collins in the second half of the year, he kind of balled out, in my opinion. It just happens, man. Guys want to play better when the contract's coming up or when they know their job could potentially be gone. People say that about DC when Marcus came in against Chargers. Marcus did pretty good against Chargers. And people are saying, well, DC was hurt, but he came back because he looked at it like he didn't want to necessarily lose his job. I don't know if that's 100% true, but even then, people are saying, well, what if DC isn't the guy? And Gruden had told DC on the back end last year that you need to prove yourself. And that pumped DC up. At the same time, bringing in someone like Marcus could also pump up DC, right? It could also make DC want to produce at a high level. Either way, I'm excited to watch DC this year, man. I know a lot of you guys believe in DC. I do too. I think DC can get it done if we give him the right situation, right? You got to give him a defense. And until then, it's very hard to say like the Raiders need to 100% move on or 100% extend him. Either way, I'm pumped up. Julia, shout out to you, man. Sanji, I appreciate the great work you do daily. I really appreciate that. Every single day I make, at least I try to make at least 2 videos. Today, this is my 3rd video of the day. And I haven't actually had this become my full-time job, but it will be one day be my full-time job, right? I will only be making content on YouTube. I won't only be covering the Raiders. Shit, I might move to Vegas, man, and be at the camp and going live from camp, right? Like that might happen one day, right? There's nothing in the world I love more than talking Raiders football. I have almost 200 people right now watching me. There's nothing more I would rather do in the world than literally this right here. Be able to talk Raiders football. So I really appreciate that, man. So huge shout out to you. Aaron left a super chat as well. Can we finally get a Raiders? I know you a shy guy. Absolutely, man. Raiders, man. Let's go. What's crazy is every time I'm at the Raiders game, I'm always yelling Raiders at the top of my lungs as I'm walking through the game. It's been like 2 years since I've been to a Raiders game, or maybe it's been 3 years now. I don't know. I lose track of time at times, but Kevin Lurker said hit them likes. If you guys can, man, there's 195 according to my count. If you guys can hit that like button, I would really, really appreciate it. Let's just skip into some of these questions. Jimmy C said Mariota is fixed after one game. I'm not 100% sure what you mean about that, Jimmy. Jimmy said if. I'm not 100% sure, but Mariota did have a good game, right? I know people say, well, he still lost, but Mariota played, in 2 quarters and maybe like 1 drive, right? 2 quarters and 1 drive in the second quarter. And he still had over 200 passing yards. He had almost 100 rushing yards. If he played a full game, he was on pace for over 400 passing yards, right? Marcus Mariota had a good game, in my personal opinion. I know we still lost, right? And at the end of the day, that's all that should matter. But you got to be realistic, right? That's not all that does matter, right? At the end of the day, if we said a guy lost, so we need to get rid of him, we would have gotten rid of DC a long time ago, right? DC's had plenty of losing seasons, but we understand DC's not necessarily the issue, right? We still struggle on defense. So I think that's definitely something that is, something we should consider. Daniel said left $5 for wisdom and knowledge. Appreciate you, man. I really appreciate that, man. Like for reals, I really, really, really do appreciate it. Jeff Royd said Sanjit the GOAT. Shout out to you, man. I know you won. I don't know if it was the Trayvon Mullen plaque or if there was something else. I know you won something on Raid the Tape channel, so shout out to you for that, man. Ben Bad said, if Marcus gets better at passing and running the offense like Carr, look out. And that's the thing, right? Is Marcus will never be as good of a passer as Derek. Derek's a good passer. Like he's very accurate. He's very good when it comes to, anything less than like 45 yards. Like he'll hit anybody. And even then, like 40, 45, he can hit anyone anywhere, no matter what. Derek has a great arm. But I will say this, right? When it comes to reads, when it comes to making the actual throw, as in like saying, all right, this guy's open downfield or this guy's about to get open and I'm going to throw it between 2 guys. I don't know if Derek's great at that, right? I think I don't really know what that's called, but I think Marcus is where he's at in terms of actually throwing the football. He's not the most accurate guy, but Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have won with not great accuracy, right? At the same time, I don't think he's going to take over for Carr. Truth be told, I think Derek's going to be the guy for at least the next year or two. And if we get into the playoffs, Derek's here probably for the rest of his career, to be honest. But he does have to get us into the playoffs. And I do think it'll come, especially since the defense will end up getting fixed. Sia React said, where are you from? I think you're talking to me. I don't know if there's someone in the comments you're talking to, but originally I'm from the Sacramento area, Yuba City specifically. Went to Yuba City High School, played football there. Right now I live in San Francisco. So I've lived here for about 5 years now, but I'm originally from the Sacramento area. So thank you for the comment. I appreciate that. Kuzavelli, I think that's how you say it. And follow your dreams. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I definitely do plan to follow my dreams, man. When I originally moved out here to San Francisco, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to go work as an accountant, which is what I went to school for. I was like, I'm going to get into that and really, do the whole 9-to-5 life. It's not for me, man. I don't care about the money at all. For me, it's more of like, I just want to live the life that I feel like is best for me, right? And Raiders, man, that's where it's at. It's probably my biggest passion in life, man. LA Dad said Sanjit should be a booth commenting the game, and that would be horrible, man. That would be horrible. You also said to do a podcast. I used to do a podcast. It's a lot of work, and really podcasts aren't fun unless there's at least two people. So maybe I can talk, someone that I know into doing something like that with me. I think that would be definitely interesting to do a podcast. Teen Raider said, I see Deablo having contract problems. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's contract problems or I don't know if he's hurt. It's definitely one or the other because people were saying that he was at the first OTA practice, and I feel like I remember seeing that as well. CCZ said, I miss Crabtree. Who's our next Crabtree? I mean, Brian Edwards potentially, man. It's interesting because Derek has always performed best when he's had guys like Crabtree, when he's had good big wide receivers. Even last year, had a pretty good year, but I think if you give him guys like Crabtree and Cooper, those are great weapons to have. I don't remember who our tight end was at that time. I don't know if it was Jared Cook at that time, or I think Jared Cook might have came afterwards. I think he did come afterwards. But when you give him weapons, wide receiver weapons, not tight end weapons, Derek does better, in my opinion, right? Derek does better when we don't have when he has wide receivers, right? I'm sure he does fine with Darren Waller, as you guys see, Waller's 1,100 plus yards every single year. But the thing is like, I've seen Derek do better when he has better receivers over tight ends, right? So I don't know if that's something he just feels more comfortable with. Ben Bad said, take it from the old guy, do what you love. I absolutely agree, man. As the older I'm getting, I'm 28 now. The older I'm getting, the more I realize that I would rather do what I love as opposed to, chasing the money, as people say, right? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Shout out to my brother Cole G. He said Rivera was the tight end in 2016, and I'm positive that he was the guy because my brother has an insane memory. So shout out to you. Edgar said, been a fan for 4 years now. Keep going, bro. I appreciate that, Edgar. I appreciate that you've been here for such a long time. Because I know a lot of people subscribe and then they'll stop watching, and then some people kind of join later on. So I appreciate that, man. That's support right there, and I appreciate the super chat. Really, really, really appreciate that. Yeah, man, this year is gonna be very, very, very interesting. We have so many things to really look for. Divine Deablo, I don't know if it's health, right? I really don't know what exactly it is. Aaron Burnaby said, Sanji, you think the hot weather in Vegas will affect teams like the cold does? Here's the thing, man. I think John Gruden is ahead of the curve here. I think John Gruden thought about this, and he said, hey, man, Vegas is hot. If we get used to the heat, when other people come to Vegas, they're not going to be used to the heat. And I think it does make a difference, man. You crank that heater up in the stadium, and I don't know how the Raiders get to control that. I don't know if the NFL controls all of that. But at some point, the Raiders have to be able to control their own, temperatures. And I don't know, right? I don't know. Maybe I can be wrong. But if it's hot you got to keep in mind, teams typically stay at whatever area it is. So like when the Ravens come to play the Raiders in Vegas in week 1, they're probably going to come the night before. So they're going to go like a full day in that heat. They're going to be hot. They're going to be sweating, dehydrated just a little bit. Then they're going to get to the game and they're not going to feel themselves. And that kind of happens when teams play in the cold, right? Obviously, if you're indoor, you have an indoor stadium, it might not have that same impact. But the Raiders would be smart to turn that heat up just a little bit. Jimmy C said the fans would die. LOL. Yeah, man. Obviously, you don't want that. But hey, man, if I was at the game and you guys turned the heat up and I was sweating and I was hot, if we win, man, and that's that advantage, I would definitely consider that. Tycho Nova said November and December are cold in Vegas, which I guess that makes sense, right? So there goes that. I guess we probably can't have that going for ourselves. Ben Bad, I appreciate the comment. I really do. Kevin Lurker said, I'm thinking if Deablo injured himself on the first day. Weren't reporters there that day? Nobody mentioned seeing it. So reporters were not there that day. I think the Raiders had OTAs for 2 weeks, and then the reporters were allowed week 3 of OTAs, and I think this is week 4, which is a mandatory part, right? But yeah, the reporters were not there that week. And at the same time, if other players saw that him getting hurt, maybe they kept it a secret, right? Who knows? I'm surprised like Vic Tafur, one of these guys, hasn't reported Divine Deablo being hurt. I don't see how he's not out there. I don't think it's a contract situation. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see what happens. I think Deablo will be there shortly. I know the whole situation's kind of going on right now, but I think he'll be there soon, man. Jesse Rhoda said, hit the thumbs up, nation. If you guys can hit the thumbs up button, I would really appreciate it. Shout out to Jesse for getting a picture on his channel. Unless I missed that early, I don't think you had a picture earlier. If you guys are on YouTube and you guys are leaving comments, man, make sure you guys have a picture up, man. Represent Raider Nation, represent yourselves. I'm gonna change my picture on YouTube eventually. I'll put my face up on that too. So hit that thumbs up button if you guys have not already done so. It really does help this channel grow. I'm gonna end the video here. I really appreciate the 215-ish of you guys that joined. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Raider Nation, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.